Soul of the City is...
Soul of the City is a wonderful place for teens to learn about their neighborhood and how to help out with the community.
Soul of the City was a place to connect with a whole bunch of new people that I didn't know, and we learned a lot about leadership, and I learned about my community and how I needed to take care of it because it's the only place I've got.
What gives our city soul? What about the District of Columbia inspires you to create, to question, to listen, to dance, and to sing? What buildings make you wonder about its past and imagine its future? What Washingtonians have inspired you to take action, make a change, or challenge your way of thinking? What makes you want to scream at the top of your lungs, "I love this city"? What makes you proud to be a Washingtonian? Soul of the City is a week-long youth leadership program that encourages civic engagement through the lens of literature, history, art, ethics, and the public space. It is an ideal opportunity for young residents to learn about DC's past and present by exploring the places, stories, and the people that have helped define the city. Participants are lucky to be led by a committed group of humanities scholars, professionals, and community leaders. These urban scholars are selected based on excellence in their fields, as well as professional relationships and their affinity with the urban experience and landscape. An average of 70 high school students from across the district applied to the program. Of these, 35 students are invited to participate. The application process for Soul of the City is a lot like applying to college. Recommendations from people like a teacher, a coach, or a neighbor are required in addition to a personal essay that explains why applicants would benefit and contribute to the program. Soul of the City takes place during the week following the end of the DC public school year, a time when many youth have yet to start other summer activities or start a summer job. Soul of the City is organized by the Humanities Council of Washington, D.C., a nonprofit organization committed to enriching the quality of life, fostering intellectual stimulation, and promoting cross-cultural understanding and appreciation of local history in all neighborhoods of the District of Columbia through humanities programs and grants. At the Ethiopian Embassy, the group gains an international perspective. Diplomats explain the importance of maintaining friendships.
For the last 4 or 5 years, our economy grew by 10% average. This is a double the African average. The African average is 5% in the last 5 years. The African economy grew by 10%. Almost 90% of our children are going to school now. This is a very big new development. And I can tell you a lot of story about the new developments, but what I want to remind you is that there are a lot of positive things in Ethiopia. When you search Ethiopia and so in the Google or so, there are a lot of new information. Sometimes old sayings, old names are very hard to die out, you see. Ethiopia is affiliated with famine, drought, and so on, but that is an old Ethiopia. Ethiopia of the 80s and early 90s, but in the 2000 years, in the last 10 years by average, it's totally a new country.
At the Anacostia Gallery, we see how art can engage, inspire, and beautify a community.
You have to value where you live. I mean, something as simple as throwing, littering in your own neighborhood. It's just littering, period. It goes to really basic things like that. It used to be, believe it or not, when I was coming up, when they passed this littering law and they made it a fine to litter, he was like, you got to pay if you throw, it was like you didn't even understand why, but, because we didn't care about our environment. But in Canada has always cared about the environment. And I lived in Detroit, and we could cross over the river, and Canada looked completely different than Detroit. Windsor looked completely different. Why? Because they cared about their neighborhood. Just period. Anybody been to Canada? The one thing you say when you go to Canada, you're like, oh, it's so clean over here. Yep. It's unbelievable. And it's just that they cared about their environment. And so in the U.S., we just started caring about the environment probably about 35, 40 years ago. And then never too late, that's right. And then sometimes the message don't even get to our own neighborhoods. Don't seem like it. Well, it just takes one person to start. If for example, when I started sweeping in front of my curb and I sweep the whole curb, the neighborhood, the person that's in charge of Woodland, she communicated in a meeting that people should clean in front of their own houses and their curbs. And so now on Saturdays, they clean their curbs. Every Saturday, they're out there sweeping their curb. It just, positive things are contagious.
All of these places help us to better understand why DC is the way it is today and provide a solid foundation for us to confidently assume active roles in leading it into the future. This year, the theme of Soul of the City is the pursuit of happiness. This concept is used to fuel discussions about what we see and learn throughout the week. Workshops and discussion groups provide a chance for us to express ourselves. In groups, pairs, and as individuals, we are able to organize and share, which helped us practice effective communication and teamwork skills.
I smell the honeysuckle, peach snuff, roasted peanuts, and fatback. I am the candy lady. I am the candy lady. Magnolia trees, crepe myrtles, fresh grass, pot liquor, New South, but don't believe that rumor. I am the white-robed invisible army, grand dragon that still marches, defacer of the statue of Dr. King. My mouth is full of Southern drawl, Red Man tobacco, and Philip Morris check stubs. I am the bosom of the first black mayor of the 1980s. I am the hornet's nest embedded in the state of the Tar Heel. Cotton still grows in the small of my back. My claims to fame never acknowledge me at award shows.
Soul of the City journeys all over the city. The group attends lectures by local, community, business, and scholarly leaders and participates in workshops.
Now, some people believe that this globalization, this globalizing thing that is happening, is giving some people happiness. Because if you could go into Walmart and get things cheaper and your wages are not too large, you would be happy. But if you were a child in Thailand who was working as a child, 8, 9, 10 years old, all day in very bad conditions, and all you got was less than $1 a day, would you be happy or would you be unhappy? So what they are saying, some people are saying, is that this globalization, these industries that go around the world and they use technology and money to invest and produce goods and make it cheaper and all that, that what happens is another side of the story. They concentrate power in the hands of very few people, and the difference between the rich, or the gap between the rich and the poor, is getting larger and larger. We are getting people becoming more poor and very few people becoming rich. Not only within America, not within countries, but also between countries, like between these countries in the south and the rich countries in the north.
One of the workshops deals with racism, sexism, and ageism and how it affects individuals and the community. Another youth-led workshop focuses on the rights and responsibilities of citizenship through the examination of hip-hop lyrics.
The ladies will kick at the rhyme that is wicked. Those that don't know how to be pros get evicted. A woman can bear you, break you, take you. Now it's time to rhyme. Can you relate to? A sister dope enough to make you holler and scream. Hey yo, let me take it from here, queen. Excuse me, but actually what I'm about to do, to get into precisely what I am about to do, I'm conversating to the folks that have no whatsoever to do. So listen very carefully as I break it down for you.
On a walking tour of Deanwood, one of DC's oldest neighborhoods, a local preservationist delves into its dynamic past. The group experiences firsthand oral history in action.
And so Deanwood was named after this once was a plantation, as you know, and the plantation was owned by the sheriffs and the deans. I mean, the sheriff, dean family, and the Benning family. So they named after the slavery was over, they named this community Deanwood. Now, it once was spelled D-E-A-N-E-W-O-O-D, but they dropped the E, and so we were called Deanwood. So if you notice, the main street is called Sheriff Road, and that's after the Sheriff family. And another one of the main streets is Benning Road, and that's after the Benning family. And the Benning house in Deanwood was over by RFK Stadium. You know where the water is over there? Well, Mr. Benning had his house there, and he was a merchant, and the ships used to come in out of the Anacostia River, and that's where they stopped to have a night, to spend the night, get a good meal and whatever. Mr. Benning ran like a boarding house or whatever. So I know that today you have heard a lot about boundaries and where Deanwood is and where it isn't, and it's over here and it isn't over there, and it takes up that street and it doesn't take up this street. Well, when I was a child, we didn't have boundaries like that because, like I said, we didn't have people who were downtown deciding those kinds of things at that time. So anybody from my generation will tell you that Deanwood started at RFK Stadium and ended at FedEx Stadium.
So the city places emphasis on the role of photographic image in telling stories. Participants are provided with their very own camera to use throughout the week. These prints are developed during the week, and some incorporate their photographs into their final projects. Either individually or in small groups, participants create a final project, which is presented at the end of the week.
Dedicated to people like me, those that struggle with insecurities, acceptance, and even self-esteem. You never felt good enough. You never felt pretty enough.
The last day of the program is celebrated, devoted to showcasing the final projects and the ways DC inspires the group to create, cooperate, and celebrate. The closing ceremony takes place at Atlas Performing Arts Center in Northeast DC.
History is not just about people you don't know, but history is about people you do know. And one of the things that you really see is that I've always thought that young people were important, but I also think their parents are important, the grandparents are important. And when you pursue happiness, happiness is what it means for you as an individual. So the one thing that I hope you take away from this program is that you become our champions. Kristen Llanos helped us get that $300,000 because he testified, or his mother testified, he wrote the testimony. And one of the things we want you to do is to stay engaged in our program, because the better we do, the better you do, and the better the Humanities Council do. And I want to thank you for taking the time and energy to do this.
Pleasure and honor of working with your children this week. I tell you, it's one of the highlights of the summer for me is doing this work and seeing how we can take, within a week's time, young people who come in with curiosity and a lot of energy and really look at their leadership skills and take them to a new level. We made a promise a week ago that their lives would be very different this Saturday compared to last Saturday, and we have seen them just rise in so many incredible ways. We had 3 V's in terms of leadership that we asked them to focus on. Vision, what's their vision for their community, for their lives? Voice, how will they use their voices in powerful ways to let the people know what their thoughts are? And visibility, how do they get visibility for the issues they care about? So that's what you'll see presented in the next few minutes.
It was very inspiring to me. And I just want to thank all of our teachers and our youth leaders for everything that y'all done for me.
This program made me be more outspoken, more, a leader, I guess you could say. So, thanks.
Soul of the City is a life-changing experience. It actually is, even though it's only 1 week. I learned a lot about being more confident and about history of the city that I didn't know before. And I made a lot of new friends. It was interesting.
Soul of the City is probably one of the best programs I've ever attended. It taught me a lot about leadership and all the skills that I learned from Soul of the City. I plan on taking to school with me next fall in my career as student government leader.
The Council strongly believes that in-depth consideration of the issues that affect us as individuals in a society can make a positive impact on our lives. It also believes each citizen can participate in the Council's vision to transform lives through the power of the humanities.